Hi everybody! Today I'd like to talk to you about creating a pinch pot. Now you might be doing this with more or less clay than what you see here, but no matter how much clay you have, the process is basically the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my chunk of clay and I'm going to be creating a ball. This might take a minute, so bear with me here. Alright, just kind of smoothing it out with my palms, getting it into a roundish shape, and then I can start to actually roll it. And I could do that in two ways. I could roll it between my hands, or you can roll it down on your mat. And then just stop every so often and smooth out the surface. And then I'm going to continue. Now the more symmetrical it is at this point, I think the smoother your pinch pot is going to look in the end, although you are going to have to continuously be smoothing the surface and paying attention to how much pressure you're putting on the clay, whether it's with your hands or when you're setting it down on the table. All right, so here I've got my ball of clay. I am ready to start making my initial indentation into the top. And to do that, I'm just going to be using my thumb. So like the name would suggest, we're basically creating a bowl by pinching the sides of the clay until we've got an opening wide enough that you could potentially put something in it. So you'll notice, I'm going to stop for a second. After I put my thumb in there, what I'm doing is I'm going to slowly move my hand and gently, and I do mean gently, press the clay between my thumb and the rest of my fingers and kind of bring the edge of the center part out. So you can see my hole is starting to open up. Now I need to make sure I'm also paying attention to the bottom, because you don't necessarily want your bottom to get too wide. So I'm going to make sure that it stays about like this. So every so often I'm going to flip it over, kind of reshape it, and then I can go back to slowly bringing that bowl shape out, again by gently pressing around the edge with my thumb and my fingers. I'm going to come in and slowly start to smooth things out. Now notice what I'm doing with this hand. I'm bracing this side, and then while I'm bracing it, supporting the outside, I'm going to smooth the inside and make sure that my work looks nice as I continue to work on it. Because if you leave all the smoothing until the end, you might have something that doesn't quite look even on both sides, and you may not know how much room you have to press down before you could accidentally potentially break through the bottom. So you do need to do all of these things nice and slowly. I'm going to check the bottom again, make sure that it is staying the size that I want it. I'm going to reshape it on the outside. Shape it with my hands, just by kind of cupping them around the sides, and then we'll turn it back over. And I think I'm going to make this a little bit deeper. So again, I'm gently pressing down to deepen the inside of the bowl. Sorry if my hand is in the way. And then to thin out around the bowl, that's where I'm going to just pinch and smooth. Then I move, I pinch, and smooth. Okay, so I'm starting to get close to being done here. If you want to make sure that the top edge stays nice and flat, one thing you can do is flip it over and really gently, and I do mean gently, just kind of tap it on the table to keep it nice and even so that you don't have one edge of your bowl higher than the other. And while it's upside down, I might as well come back and do some work smoothing the outside. All right, then you just continue to pinch and smooth until you've got a shape that you like. And to do this, you could really make your bowl get taller if you wanted to. You could bring it out so it gets wider. It all depends on how you move the clay with your hands. But the most important thing is just to do it slowly, because if you try to create a pinch pot too quickly, you try to pull the edges of the bowl out super, super fast, most likely you're going to end up either cracking or tearing the clay. It's not going to look as good as it could. Okay, and one last thing that we are going to check. I just want to pick it up and I'm going to feel on the inside and the bottom. Because what I want to make sure of is that I have not pressed down so far with my thumb that I've made the bottom of my pinch pot too thin. So you do have to be careful of that, because you could easily do that if you start pressing down and you're not paying attention to how far you're pressing down. Okay. Now, if this were my actual project, I wouldn't be quite done yet. I would want to spend some extra time shaping and smoothing out the surface of my clay. And then you could add decorations in a variety of ways. All depends on what it is you're trying to create. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next video.